Imagine starting your day without the hum of the coffee maker or the buzz of the electric toothbrush. The first challenge of the day begins when you open your eyes and realize that none of your powered morning routine aids are at your disposal. It's a different start, but not an impossible one. Let's begin with the coffee. You might be used to the convenience of an electric coffee maker, but there are other ways to get your caffeine fix. A good old-fashioned stovetop percolator or a French press can work wonders. You'll just need a way to heat up the water. A gas stove or a camping stove can do the trick. If that's not available, even a small fire pit outside will do. Sure, it may take a little longer, but there's something satisfying about brewing coffee the old-fashioned way. Next, the bathroom routine. The electric toothbrush is replaced with the manual one. It's no big deal, really. It might even remind you of your childhood days. Same goes for the electric shaver. You can always go for the classic razor. A hot water shave is a luxury, but cold water does the job too. Then, there's the challenge of getting dressed. If you're used to ironing your clothes with an electric iron, this could be a hurdle, but here's the thing. Neatly folded clothes rarely need ironing. So if you have your clothes folded and stored properly, you can still look sharp without the need for power. Breakfast could be a little tricky. If you're used to whipping up a smoothie or toasting bread, you'll have to rethink your morning meal. But there are plenty of no-cook or fire-cooked breakfast options. Think granola bars, fresh fruits, or even a simple sandwich. As you can see, the morning routine without power is not impossible. It just requires some creative thinking. And remember, it's not about doing without, it's about discovering alternative ways to do things. This is the essence of preparedness and resilience. So, embrace the challenge and make the most of it. Now, let's navigate through the day and see how often we instinctively reach for a switch or an electric device. As the day unfolds, it's startling to realize how deeply ingrained our reliance on electricity is. From the moment we wake up, we're reaching for light switches, tapping on our coffee makers, and scrolling through our phones. These actions have become so automatic, so second nature, that we hardly notice them until the power's out. The first instance happened right after breakfast. I instinctively reached out to flick on the kitchen light, only to remember that there was no power. It felt like a small, almost insignificant action, but it was a stark reminder of how often we depend on electricity. It's not just about the big appliances or devices. It's these small, habitual actions that make up the fabric of our daily routines. Then came the sudden urge to check my emails. With no power, I was cut off from the digital world. I felt a pang of disconnection and a strange sense of isolation. It's surprising how much we depend on electric devices for communication and connection. Throughout the day, I found myself reaching out for electric devices out of habit. Each time it was like a small jolt, a reminder of our reliance on electricity. The microwave, the TV remote, the electric kettle, each of these instances was a discovery, a realization of just how tied we are to power. But amidst these realizations, there were also moments of adaptation. I found myself resorting to non-electric alternatives, reading a book instead of scrolling through news on my phone, stepping outside and enjoying the daylight instead of switching on the lights. These are small adjustments, but they go a long way in making us less dependent on electricity. It's surprising how many times we unconsciously rely on electricity throughout the day. This challenge is not just about surviving without power for 24 hours. It's about understanding our reliance on electricity, recognizing our habits, and discovering alternative ways to navigate our day. It's about being prepared for a world where power might not always be at our fingertips. Without power, staying connected and entertained can be a challenge. But don't worry, it's not an insurmountable one. We have ways to navigate this hurdle, and it starts with understanding the alternatives we can rely on when our regular tech-powered forms of communication and entertainment are unavailable. Communication, as we know, is crucial in any situation. In the absence of internet and charging capabilities, we may feel cut off from the world. But did you know that there are devices like walkie-talkies and battery-powered radios that can keep us connected? Walkie-talkies, for instance, are excellent for short-range communication, especially within a group or family. Battery-powered radios, on the other hand, can keep us informed about the latest news and updates even when the power is out. Remember, communication is not just about talking, it's also about staying informed. Now, let's talk entertainment. Without the internet or TV, you might feel like you're staring at a long, boring day. But there's a world of possibilities out there to explore. Books, for instance, are a treasure trove of stories waiting to be discovered. They can transport you to different worlds even when you're sitting in a room with no power. And let's not forget the classic board games. Chess, checkers, or a game of cards can turn into a fun family bonding session. If you're more of an outdoors person, activities like bird watching, gardening, or even a simple walk can be incredibly refreshing and entertaining. Staying connected and entertained without power is possible, but it requires some creativity and planning. The key is to be prepared and have alternatives in place. So, the next time you find yourself without power, remember that it's not the end of the world. You have the tools and the knowledge to not only survive, but also enjoy the experience. Preparing meals without electricity is a challenge that tests our survival skills. It's a stark reminder of how reliant we've become on modern conveniences. Yet, with a bit of ingenuity, we can still whip up a decent meal without having to resort to eating cold canned beans. The first hurdle is the heat source. Without electricity, we need to find alternative ways to cook our food. A camping stove is a good option as it's portable and doesn't require a power source. You can also use a grill, provided you have enough charcoal or propane. These alternatives not only allow us to cook food but also boil water, an essential task in a survival situation. The second hurdle is the food itself. Without a refrigerator or freezer, we're limited to non-perishable items. This is where a well-stocked pantry comes into play. Canned goods, dried fruits, nuts, and grains are all excellent choices. They're nutrient-dense and can be stored for long periods of time without spoiling. The third hurdle is meal planning. Without the convenience of a microwave or oven, each meal needs to be thought out and planned carefully. You'll need to consider cooking times, as some foods take longer to cook than others. You'll also need to think about portion sizes, as leftovers can't be refrigerated. The key is to keep meals simple and nutritious. Having a variety of spices and condiments on hand can also make a big difference in the taste of your meals. A little salt, pepper, or hot sauce can turn a bland meal into a flavorful feast. It's small comforts like these that can lift your spirits in challenging times. In the end, meal preparation without power is a challenge, but with some forethought and creativity, it's entirely doable. It's a valuable skill that not only allows us to survive in a power outage, but also appreciate the conveniences we often take for granted. So, the next time you find yourself in the dark, remember, a good meal is still within reach. As daylight fades, lighting becomes a crucial challenge. When we're plugged in, it's easy to forget that darkness is a significant obstacle for humans. We're not nocturnal creatures after all. So, let's take a closer look at how we can illuminate our surroundings without flipping a switch. First up, we have the good old-fashioned candles. They've been around for centuries, providing a warm, flickering light that's ideal for creating a cozy ambiance. But remember, candles need to be used with caution. They are an open flame after all and can pose a fire risk if not managed correctly. Next, we have solar lights. These gems soak up sunlight during the day and then provide a soft glow when the sun goes down. They're great for outdoor use but can also be used inside if you place them near a window during the day to charge. Then, we have battery-powered lamps. These can vary greatly in size, brightness, and battery life. Some are small and portable, perfect for moving from room to room. Others are larger and can illuminate a whole room. Remember to keep a stockpile of batteries though, as these lamps are only as good as their power source. Now lighting is one thing, but comfort is another. Without electricity, we lose our heating and air conditioning. This is a big deal, especially if you're dealing with extreme temperatures. To stay warm, consider layering up, using thermal blankets, or even a wood-burning stove if you have one. To keep cool, hydration is key. Also try to stay in the shade during the day and take advantage of the cooler temperatures at night. In essence, it's all about being adaptable. We're so used to the convenience of electricity that we often forget there are other ways to achieve the same results. Yes, they might require a bit more effort and forethought, but they're entirely doable. With the right tools and planning, maintaining lighting and comfort without electricity is possible. Preparing for sleep without any power presents its own set of challenges. As darkness sets in, the absence of the usual hum of electricity becomes more apparent. It's a time when the reality of a power outage can feel most daunting. But fear not, with the right preparation, it's entirely manageable. One of the key adjustments is temperature control. Depending on the time of year, you may need a battery-powered fan for those sweltering summer nights or extra warm blankets for the chillier ones. Then, there's the issue of timekeeping. Without the convenience of a digital clock, you'll need to rely on an old-fashioned wind-up or battery-powered alarm clock. to ensure you wake up at the right time. The quiet of the night without electricity can be unsettling, but it can also be a time for reflection and appreciation for our often overlooked daily conveniences. Sleeping without power can be a challenge, but it's manageable with the right preparation. After 24 hours without electricity, it's time to reflect on the experience. The day was strewn with challenges, from the simple act of making coffee in the morning to finding ways to stay entertained without our beloved gadgets. It's astonishing just how much we rely on power for our daily routines. The first realization was how crucial preparation is. Having alternatives for cooking, lighting, and communication can turn a potential disaster into a manageable situation. We discovered weaknesses, sure, but also strengths we didn't know we had. And let's not forget the importance of a survival mindset. Without it, even the best laid plans can crumble. It's about being adaptable, resourceful, and resilient, even when the lights go out. This challenge has shown that living without power for 24 hours is doable. But it requires planning, creativity, and a strong survival mindset. Let's keep learning, keep preparing, and stay ready for whatever comes our way.